the growth in the county was because we can offer great recreation, shopping, jobs close to home, easily located close to a lot of things that are going on, not just here, but in Huntsville and Birmingham and Atlanta, Chattanooga.
So we just may have some more Olympics that'll not be from Albertville, France, but they'll be from Marshall County and Arab,
right,
Alabama. So that'll be good to have that happen. I know last week we interviewed, or the week before, a couple of girls that are working. They're from here, from Huntsville, that are working to go to the Olympics. So, you know, to have a place like you have, that's the way they can actually work out to do that. And so it's great. Well, what is that one thing you'd like for people to remember about your community? And we're going to start with you, Melissa, to let you recap some of the things about Arab.
The one thing I want them to remember about Arab is the quality of life, without a doubt. It is wonderful to live and to work in Arab. The schools, the people, the atmosphere, and our centennial year, of course, is very important to us as well.
And how about you?
Well, quality of life is important to all of us. I don't know of anything we all would stress more than quality of life. We have, as I said, good schools. We have a strong economic base.
Well, who are some of the people that you have there? And we will not even attempt to name all of them. The
industries?
Yes.
Well, we have over 40 major industries located within the city limits of Albertville, and many more.
Hudson
smaller.
Is expanding.
Hudson Foods. We had 7 expansions within our city limits last year that produced about 500 new jobs within the community. We have 3 who will announce shortly, and we have just had an announcement recently from Hudson Foods, 250 new jobs with Hudson Foods. We constantly see new interest in the area.
So when people are saying the economic situation is bad and oh boo-hoo and crying the blues, it's not really that true in Marshall County.
We've been blessed.
You've really just, it's like you're a little entity of your own that you're just going and growing.
The Lord has taken care of us in that respect. We don't see that little slump, and our unemployment rate has remained fairly low, and jobs are available. If people want to have a job, it's generally available somewhere in Marshall County.
And Luann?
I would say just our very strong, diverse economic base from our tourism industry and retirement.
Do you have houses available for people if they wanted to move there? Are there apartments?
Yes, there's plenty of housing available, apartments.
And construction companies where you can build your own? And some
several
on the lake?
Great chamber member contractors. They're great realtors. Just the school system, quality of life, like
you have the early bird. All 4 of you have those.
We all have early birds, business after hours type events, quarterly luncheons. Some of us, membership drives, board of directors.
How about you, Mr. Weathers? Tell us some of the. Just succinctly say some of the things that are.
Quality of life is our last brochure that we produced and that we send out. Going to industry now, along with our regular industrial brochure, is based entirely on quality of life.
Which is, of course, the clean air,
schools,
clean water,
churches,
schools,
and friendliness of the people, and the willingness. Now, one thing we like to stress, that our people are willing to give a day's work for a day's pay, and they definitely are. And
so when the Japanese or other people say that we have lazy people, they're not in Marshall County,
no,
are they?
Wonderful labor
and they're
market
easy
there.
to learn.
To teach.
They're teachable.
That's good.
And we have lots of training facilities within the county to offer that training to all of our folks who have jobs. The housing market is very wonderful. The cost of living is great all over the county.
Low compared to other areas?
To the areas nearby.
Well, hey, you said all these wonderful things, exactly what I expected you to, but it sounds like I'm really glad I moved over there. But we chose to live there. That's good. Melissa Cook, Arab Chamber of Commerce, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Bonnie.
And also Brenda Raines, Executive Executive Director of the Albertville Chamber of Commerce. And glad you're here. And Luann Hayes from the Lake Gunnersville Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for being here. And Chalmers Weathers, so great that you could come over and be with us.
I've enjoyed it
from the Boaz Chamber of Commerce, Executive Director. And we'll be over there and spend some more of our money just real shortly. And we're glad that each one of you joined us today. And if there's any place you'd like to visit this year, it certainly could be Marshall County, Alabama. I'm Bonnie Libhart, and bless your heart for watching. I'd like to have a year to get everything just perfect, but I still have red hair and freckles, so I guess I'll forget that idea. But anyway, when Queen Esther had some challenges that she was, well, Haman, who was an evil man that was an advisor to the king, wanted to have the Jewish people, and I say, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And people believe what they see. So if they say, oh, you feel humdrum, then they're going to not believe that you're feeling happy and feel blessed. Because no matter, it says all things work together for good for them that love God. And so if all things are going to work together for good, we might as well just be happy and have a little giggle time together. A lot of times in my seminars, I will actually have a laughing contest where I get people on stage and we giggle, and we give a prize to the one that laughs and giggles the most and has the most fun. And I think that it's terrific to do that. Now, there's ways that you can actually help people have fun. Just if you're at the water fountain, take a little Post-it and put on the Post-it and say, what are you up to now? Or, hey, what about the ladies' bathroom? Some of these things that you can do. Then you could list 5 or 10 things that you like, and maybe list 5 or 10 things that you don't like, and think about how you spend your day, and see how that you can learn to cope with all of it and laugh and go on with life. Because if we're alive and breathing and have an opportunity to tell another human about Jesus, then we are in a blessed stage. We can just be so thankful for what we have, our eyes and our ears and our mouth. And sometimes my husband says he would talk more, but he hates to interrupt. Sometimes I might have a tendency to talk. I think they're calling it eggplant this year. But anyway, the idea is that you should have the very best you can put together for the Lord, whether it's going to church or in any other type of ministry. When people see you, you need to have your face on, and the face starts from the inside out with that smile on the face and not dumping all your troubles on other people. I've done a lot of that this last year and a half, and I'm going to have a new goal is to not do that to you all the time. But I do appreciate the love and appreciation that a lot of you have. It says, not only does she have the clothing in silk and purple, her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. I know there are a lot of women that build their husband up. I think of Mrs. James Record, so many things that Dr. Record has done for this community in this whole area, or they wouldn't have named a street after him, I'm sure. But his wife has stood behind him and helped him so many times, and that's a way a lot of Christian wives do. And even though she did all these other things, real estate, getting organized for the day, but yet because of her support of her husband, I feel like a lot of times Vicki and Chuck Tatum, that a lot of you know, that have Victory Network here, I see Vicki just always giving her husband a boost. I'm sure Chuck gives Vicki a boost too, but she's always bragging on him, and he's handsome, he can get things done, he's so good doing this. She's always bragging about him, and I just think that's so sweet of her to do that. That when he gets his head set, he can go up and say, we're doing great things and we're doing wonderful things. And I just love the way that she supports him and he supports her, and they work together. It says, she maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. Now, she openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. know that is a challenge that many of us have. I have had that since the day I was born, I think, is being a little bit sharp with people and saying the wrong things. It seemed like I have my mouth open, my foot in it a lot of the time. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. And I think that has a lot to do with the television that we watch. We need to watch ourselves. I was just realizing, I went to visit my brother and his wife in Chattanooga, well, Dayton, Tennessee, the other week, and they were doing our taxes. He has a tax firm. And while we were there, we were sitting up on Saturday night, and I was watching television, and they don't watch much Saturday night television. I realized I knew everything that was going to happen. Also 7 sons and 3 daughters. But here's the part I wanted to talk to you about. And he called the name of the first daughter Jemimai, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen Hapuk. Now, in all the land were no daughters found as fair as the daughters of Job. And their father, Job, gave them inheritance among their brethren. See, I think that's great because we as women need to know. Hope that they've ever had is taken away, and there is a hopelessness and a helplessness about it. But there's also change the beds that need someone to wash their hair. I was just thinking about do Bible studies or in prisons. Well, those people are needing our help. Many of them are kept away from their children. There are other answers, and we could sit down together and come up with some other answers for people in prison. I think there are a lot of other answers, and I think there are answers for people who want to do something different. There's so many verses in the Bible about people in prison. In Psalms 142:7, it's talking about bringing my soul out of prison. And Ecclesiastes 4:14, out of prison have a voice, a vision plus voice on while we have freedom to speak. And I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you think that the Leona Helmsley of the world should have to go to prison and our tax money be used this way, or is there another answer for these people in prison? And I would like to hear from you. What is the answer for people in prison that